What makes a traitor? A person who betrays someone or something, such as a friend, cause, or principle. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? Especially with the way that Jack acted in Top Boy Season 3. But if you betray somebody that's your friend because you believe that you're doing something that will impact the greater good and the community that you live in, could you be seen as a hero? Somebody who's admired for their courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities? Well, Top Boy Season 3 delved into that field with the character of Jack, and I thought I'd take a look at the character, her behaviors, the triggers, and see how she viewed herself, how others did, and ultimately come to the conclusion on if she's a traitor or a hero. This video will contain spoilers. You've been warned. In the most recent season of Top Boy, we saw a side to Jack that we'd never seen before. A side that was calmer, more docile, and less involved in what was going on out on the streets. It's clear to see that Lauren's baby being born was something that had a profound impact on her, and she was heavily involved from the off, something which one would have never predicted when we saw how she treated Lauren a few seasons back for betraying her, Sully, and the Summerhouse crew. But this season almost marked the beginning of a different Jack that we were going to be seeing. Jack was faced with the harsh realization of the impact from the years of her own actions in selling to people on the streets when she saw that Lauren was caught up in it as a customer and was doing it in the presence of a newborn baby, ultimately finding herself being reliant on it for any kind of relief from the realities of life. So much so that it ultimately claimed her at the end of episode 2. This is what sparked the complete change in direction for Jack for the remainder of the show. There was this one character who had a recurring role in the show who was almost the embodiment of not only her sister Lauren, but she was the personification of the destruction to the many lives that Jack felt responsible for destroying over the course of the years that she'd been involved with Sully and Deshane. However now, being faced with it by seeing this woman and how she treated her baby, which was only a little bit older than her sister's baby, and also with Lauren no longer being around, we saw that Jack felt as though she needed to do something to stop this devastation and destruction to many lives. And this something was taking the food that Sully hid in a house with the intention of stopping it from going around on the streets. This is where the moral complex then comes in when it comes to deciding whether or not Jack was a hero or just an outright traitor. The Traitorous Elements. The actions that Jack took in order to clear her own personal conscience came at the expense of the many people that she'd been loyal to and friends with over the years. For example, she took the food off Sully, which meant that he ended up losing the money that he planned on making. She roped Kieran into the situation when he didn't need to be, which ultimately got him killed. And she was going to take Bex and the baby and make them up and leave their life too. But why? Not because she'd made a difference, but because she had betrayed somebody who she was close with, realized that it was a mistake and was trying to get away with it, as I do genuinely feel like she knew that she made a mistake. Let's look at how she approached it. She was covered up, broke into the house, hurt the woman, took the bags, and then fled. An approach that would not be considered the best way to do it. She went behind Sully's back, hence why it was something that he just wasn't able to look past, as that element of trust that they once shared was no more, and it could never be the same again. The heroic trait. Jack wanted to make the streets and the people that she was supposed to care for a better place by getting rid of the food that she would be going on to sell. This was after experiencing firsthand the demise of somebody that she cared about due to the industry that she was involved in. She felt like she wanted to ensure that nobody else felt that pain and suffering that she felt when looking at what it did to her sister, which is something that would be heroic, even if one did need to betray somebody that they cared about in order to help the greater good. However, my main issue with what Jack did was that she had good intentions in removing the food and she wanted out of that kind of lifestyle. But the harsh reality and the fact of the matter is, she was never going to make a difference by removing that one bag of food. There would have been more that followed. Plus, as well, something which meant that all of her actions went undone was the fact that she was prepared to just hand it back to Sully when he wanted it, showing that her moral beliefs weren't actually that strong. She was more so just acting off of the guilt that she felt for her sister's death, and the guilty conscience that she had. If she was adamant that she wasn't going to be giving it back and left Summerhouse in the area for good, then I'd have seen that as some kind of heroic action. But she didn't do anything like that. Instead, she handed it back and went back to where she came from prior to taking the food in episode 4. I would also say that the actions that she carried out by then proceeding to get Kieran involved when he didn't need to be was something which ultimately led her to be directly responsible for the death of the person that she probably cared for most outside of her family. So despite believing that she was doing good and would be helping the residents of Summerhouse, she actually had the opposite effect, and her actions cost her the life of her brother and almost her own. Conclusion. I believe that Jack felt that she had good intentions and she planned on making a difference by taking the food off of Sully. But the fact that she had to betray Sully rather than just going to him directly and saying that she wanted out of the game, then getting Kieran involved, which then got him killed due to being deemed untrustworthy as he had to lie to Sully, I think she was just a bit of a traitor. She had a guilty conscience over what she was doing to the residents, but more so what happened to her sister, and I don't really feel there were true good intentions behind her behaviour. Only the image of her sister lying there, and feeling the weight of the world as responsibility on her shoulders, so she wanted to get rid of that image and the sense of responsibility. Jack had done some bad things in the past which she'd been able to live with, and never tried to repent before, and in this instance, she wasn't repenting for them either, only trying to make a difference to clear her mind on this one subject matter, something which to me still shows some kind of selfish nature as the actions would be making her feel better. If she was the person who proceeded to kill Sully in the closing moments of the finale, the fact that she left the food would mean that she only did it to cover her back and ensure that she was safe from the free pass that she may not have had from him, showing that she did just have her own thoughts at heart. However, I suppose it would cause Sully to be off the streets, leaving it dry for a while until somebody else came along. So if she did kill him, then that would make her a traitor even more. Personally, I feel Jack only acted the way that she did in order to clear her own mind from the feeling of a sense of responsibility for what she'd done in the past. The fact that she even said to Sully that her mind was clouded with fog since the death of Lauren proved that this was something that could have only been temporarily in her mind, and the way that she didn't stand by it just showed that there was no weight behind her actions. At the end of the day, she betrayed Sully. She was a traitor, and there's no way to hide that. There were no true heroic actions that were present as she went back on them all, meaning that her mind wasn't clear, the streets weren't clean, and she lost 2 good friends in the process. So when looking at the definitions of a hero and a traitor, I believe Jack is perfectly summed up by the traitor, a person who betrays someone or something such as a friend. So, there you have it. Was Jack a traitor or a hero in Top Boy Season 3? If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. Do you think Jack is a traitor or a hero? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.